he prioritises that 30% of his time needs to be on the psychological game, which I find, a really relevant and critical and crucial concept to consider when we think about the next manager at Tottenham, especially if, and I think we all agree, Conte was right when he said that Tottenham players have a psychological barrier to success. Morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I'm Sean Butler. Bugsy Malone is just up in front. It is Friday. Happy Friday to you. Hope you're all happy and healthy doing the things that you love, the people that you love doing them with. This is episode 178 of Tottenham Walks. And if I can, guys, let me ask you for some favours. Please hit the like button for me on the video. Hit the subscribe button for the channel. I think we're only about 40 away now from the big 6K, which is awesome. It's very, very cool to have so much support from you guys. And yeah, like I say, if you're enjoying the content, please hit the subscribe. It's free to do. And let's see where we can take this bad boy. Hit the notification bell to see the content first. And also drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on today's topic. And I really hope that I'm going to make it home before the rain comes. On the left side of me here, it's blue skies. It's beautiful. Over here is dark, gloomy, deep grey. I think the wind is going this way, so we'll see how we do. Guys, listen, there's only one thing to talk about this morning, and that is the craziness that happened last night. About 9 o'clock, I think it was, we suddenly get the tweets coming out that Julian Nagelsmann has been sacked by Bayern Munich, which caught everyone by surprise, or most people by surprise. And then within about 15 minutes of that happening, Thomas Tuchel was appointed as the new head coach at Bayern Munich. Within about 15 minutes of that happening, the betting odds on Tottenham's next permanent manager that had been 5-1 odds on, so 1-5, in Ryan Mason taking over for at least the next 10 games, which is what's considered a permanent manager, he drifted out to evens or even outside of evens, closer to like 15-8. And guess who was replaced as the favourite for the next permanent manager job? Julian Nagelsmann. It's madness. Now, of course, the betting odds don't mean anything. It depends on who was putting the money on, how much money was being placed on the bet, given the liquidity of the market. But ultimately, what I find hilarious is that it only turned out about 2 hours later that Julian Nagelsmann hadn't even been told by Bayern Munich that he had been sacked. He was at home, allegedly, according to Twitter, he was at home and found out via Fabrizio Romano's tweet. I mean, absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. You talk about poor communication at Tottenham. That's not a nice way to find out you've been fired. So, unofficially, Bayern Munich are without a new manager. Unofficially, one of Tottenham's favourites for the new job at White Hart Lane has now gone to Bayern Munich. And of course, Julian Nagelsmann is now the odds-on favourite to become the next manager of Tottenham, even though we haven't even got a vacancy either yet. Antonio Conte is still officially employed by Tottenham. Julian Nagelsmann is still officially employed by Bayern Munich. Yet, according to Twitter, nothing could be further from the truth. Now, it's all very strange, right? It's all very strange. Why was Nagelsmann relieved of his duties in the first place? It's a bit of a head scratcher because he hasn't done a bad job there, right? He's not, I think he's second in the Bundesliga, which is, I guess, unforgivable to Bayern Munich fans and to maybe the higher ups at Bayern Munich, in that, they absolutely must always be winning the league. But in the Champions League, they had a really tough group, and then they beat Paris Saint-Germain in the last 16. He's won 8 games from 8 in the Champions League. And, in a couple of weeks' time, they could also be back on top again in the Bundesliga. So, it's not like he's failing or failed, but maybe he's not successful by quite as big a distance as he should be. Last season, he won the Bundesliga. He's won 2 cups there in his 2 years. It's a strange one. Maybe there's something else to it. Maybe he's not getting on with the higher ups. Who knows? But ultimately, there's another element, another conspiracy theory that is emerging. I am starting to get soaked now. There's another conspiracy theory that is emerging, and that is that Tottenham apparently were in deep conversations with Thomas Tuchel to take over the as of yet non-vacant job at Tottenham, and Bayern Munich wanted to not miss out, or didn't want to miss out on the guy that they had earmarked for the next job after Nagelsmann. And so they got wind of the progressing talks at Tottenham. Tuchel maybe let it slip because he was using Tottenham as a way to try and get in at Munich, who knows? And then Munich went, okay, let's pull the trigger and get this done. In any event, whilst it's all unconfirmed, it does look like Thomas Tuchel is no longer going to be an available option for Tottenham. If and when Conte gets relieved of his duties, where do we pivot to? Well, as you know, I had, my favourite was Pochettino, but difficult to really pick and choose, and there was no clear favourite when I asked people on live streams. I actually was convinced of the stronger argument to have Tuchel, whatever his name is. I originally didn't want him, but then people made strong arguments for him in the the reality that he's one of the best in-game managers and dynamic with his formations, and relatively successful with cup competitions. And me being the flip-flop that I am, I had my mind changed, so I was okay with Tuchel. In his absence, if Nagelsmann is a real reality and a chance there, I would love to see him come in. He is someone that is incredibly creative in his managerial philosophies. I remember reading about him way back. I think he was at Hoffenheim or 1860 Munich or somewhere like years and years ago, when he put a giant tactics board on the training ground so that he could do his high intensity training sessions, then stop everybody and bring out the tactics board and show the video clips without having to kind of disrupt the training and take everybody into the dressing room. Very forward thinking with his ideas around how to manage people, but also very much adaptable with his formations. So if you're going to reflect on him at Bayern Munich, which I don't necessarily think is the right thing to do, because Bayern Munich have always had a far superior squad to the majority of the opposition in the Bundesliga, and so have the ability to play far further up the field and play possession-based dominance in their attacking philosophy. And they kind of do more of a 4-2-3-1 on paper, but in reality it's like a 3+1. The right back and the 2 centre backs plus a DM kind of hold and control the back four. The left back gets right up as almost like a left wing forward. So it's a 3+1 and then a 5+1. But like I say, that is an outcome, a symptom of being the best team in Germany and being able to control games. The better way for me, I think, to reflect on his philosophy of football is when he didn't quite have the best team, but got the best out of them. And that was obviously at Leipzig, where he made his name. And in that system, he was far more used to playing the wing-back roles. A 3-5-2 was his more predominant fashion, and then with the ball at least. Then without the ball would go to a 5-2-3 or a 3-4-3, depending on how you want to sort of think of it. And I think that kind of suits Tottenham, right? It suits Tottenham with the incoming, prospect of Destiny Udogie, who hasn't played as a left back for Udinese. We just don't know. He might be capable, he might not be. And Pedro Porro hasn't really ever played as a right back for Sporting. He might be capable, but he might not be. And obviously both of them are more attacking minded. So it would be great to be able to have a general transition into a manager that can somewhat continue to utilise the squad in the formation that suits us best at the moment. That being said, we obviously do still need, any new manager is going to need at least one, if not two, centre-backs to come in to support the new vision. If you want to go to a more creative and more attacking front foot football with a press and a high line, then the very basics of that are that you have fast, capable centre-backs who can, cover ground quickly, but also that are technically capable with the ball at their feet. And right now, we only have one of those in reality. Longley's capable with the ball at his feet, but he's not fast enough. Ben Davies is... No, I think Ben Davies is good enough to be a squad player, but I don't necessarily think that he should ever be considered to be our go-to first choice. So we definitely need two centre-backs in the summer. But anyway, I'm getting off the point. For me, Nagelsmann is a very exciting, capable, innovative and creative manager that can utilise the squad we have, plug a few different things into it, and we can see the football that we all want to see. And also, hopefully, his name has a bit more gravitas to it than someone like Amorim's, who, whilst I've got no problem with Amorim, he's going to come with a £30 million or €30 million release clause, which I don't know if Daniel Levy's going to want to play, with that guy, the Daniel Levy of Portugal, who, held us over a table for most of the January window. Does he really want to go down and kind of compete for that guy's signature again, and deal with the sporting chairman? Look, I think the €30 million drops by 25% in the summer, so I think it will become €22.5 million. But when you factor in that cost, plus obviously his salary and his team's salary, but just that cost, and also if Conte is really going to try and hold out for some, compensation package that runs into an extra €20 million or 20 million quid, because he created a situation where he said things that are now forcing Daniel Levy's hand, and he's, like I say, I'm speculating here, and I could be completely wrong, but if it turns out that there's no smoke without fire, and the tactic that was employed by Conte was very intelligently handled in a way where he could invoke a scenario where Levy's hand was forced just to pick up an extra 15 million quid on your way out the door, then it leaves a very bad taste in my mouth for a manager that, I don't think deserves that kind of additional payoff. But anyway, I'm getting off the point. I know, again, there's nothing concrete in that. It's very difficult to prove what people's motivations were. So I'll leave that conversation there. But Amorim plus, 22.5 million for Amorim plus whatever might have to be paid out to Conte. That's sort of 40, 50 million quid of an already stretched transfer budget if we don't finish top four. So I just don't necessarily know if Daniel Levy's going to want to pay out that much money just to swap one manager for another, especially if Julian Nagelsmann is available and interested. I think that they're both similarly intriguing to me in their youth, their mindset, their philosophy. The one thing I absolutely loved reading about Nagelsmann was a quote that he made, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I haven't got it in front of me, but he said something like, football management is 70% tactical, 30% psychological, and that he has unique relationships with every player that he manages, because not every person is the same, not everyone responds to feedback in the same way. Some people need the carrot, some people need the stick, some people need a blend of both, and that he prioritizes that 30% of his time needs to be on the psychological game, which I find, a really relevant and critical and crucial concept to consider when we think about the next manager at Tottenham, especially if, and I think we all agree, Conte was right when he said that Tottenham players have a psychological barrier to success. Whatever it is, whether it's, a loser's mentality, or the fact that we haven't won in so long, winning breeds winners, losers breed losing breeds losers, etc. The fact that Nagelsmann spends he doesn't pay lip service to it, or he doesn't necessarily want to just bring someone else in, a sports psychologist or whatever, to take care of that. To him, the personal relationship with the players is unique and nuanced, and it's important that he is handling as much as he can that side of the development of players in their approach to the game, the way that they handle pressure, fear, excitement, energy, passion, engagement, relationships with each other. If he is taking that stuff seriously, I think that is a massive slice of where Tottenham are going wrong, and it would be awesome to see someone like him come in with all of the potential that he has shown and all of the skills that he has absolutely got, with abundant clarity to me, Nagelsmann would be immediately prioritised as my number one choice. I'm not against any of the others. I'm happy if we get Amorim and Levy makes the finances work. It's okay with me. If we get Poch, the people's favourite, that's okay with me too. But for me right now, and I know it's probably a pipe dream, and I know I'm going to get inundated with comments saying, dream on, it's never going to happen. Why would he come to this debacle of a football club? Stranger things have happened. Money talks. Sometimes, projects suit certain characters. And maybe, just maybe, Nagelsmann and Tottenham is a very fortuitous turn of events where a dream can come true, and it could just be something to get really excited about. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, bye-bye.